How's it going? Oh my lord, I just dropped my phone. Oh no, I hope it didn't break. Hey, fire chat's almost done. I'm about out of lumber here. I need to cut some more wood big time because I didn't realize that I didn't have that much wood left when I started this second fire chat. But we just did one for over an hour on Summer Wells, Sebastian Rogers, and Maddie Soto. And I wanted to come on a little bit and talk about something else. It's on the Idaho 4 case. We've been discussing a little bit about this. And this case, like I said, has always been so hard to cover. Because I have felt that there's so much that's not talked about in this case, like the area around the house, the black suits that I was telling y'all. Remember I was telling y'all those oil field Tyvek suits, right? See that oil tank behind you? That's what they look like, and they're waterproof, and they cover your hands, your feet, everything. Only thing is they don't cover your face, so if you wear the mask, then you're not seen, right? So is that what Brian Kohlberger used, was one of those to go in this house here, right? Is that what he did? I don't know. But I know that hopefully justice is coming, and I do feel that if you go back and look at a lot of the Papa Rogers things that he put out, Papa Rogers actually had these different maps of the home and things of this nature. That's why I've always felt maybe he was involved, but there's no guarantee that he was involved, right? But there is something. Is this it that I wanted to read? No, wait, never mind. That's not it. There was something that I wanted to talk about because, remember how I said about Papa, if you put them side by side, right? You see how that could be, Brian, right? Almost, right? I don't know, but he's done. He's stick a fork in him. He's done. I told y'all the amount of evidence would start dropping, and it is. There's so much out there, guys, that there's just no. I mean, there's no way around it. He's not getting off of this. It's not only the deceit that he left behind, but there's so much more. I mean, so much more involved in this. And do I feel that justice will be done? Yeah, I do. I feel that justice will be done. I feel that justice will be done for these four. And I think that the more we learn, the more we understand. You remember how I had talked to y'all about, I thought that some kind of altercation might have started in the hallway with Ethan. Like, did he step out there to check and see if there was a noise upstairs? Did they hear something and him be like, hold on a minute, you stay here, Xana, and him go and then run into Brian in the hall? I felt that way, remember? Now, do I know this? No, I don't know this, because we still don't know exactly where they were found. We don't know that. We do not know 100% where they were found, or the 911 call we can kind of go by is based on them thinking that Xana was unconscious and either passed out. But if you listen to what DM said in the crying before the roommate, the friend grabbed the phone from her, she was hysterical. I don't know what happened to my house, but something. She knew that there was something more wrong than just an unconscious Xana, I think. But I think the shock, she still was just like, so you can't imagine what you would go through as a 20-year-old, right? Can't imagine the thoughts that were going through her mind. All she remembered was she saw somebody that she did not recognize, all in black like that. It freaked her out. So it freaked her out enough for her to run downstairs, as terrified as she was, and have to come out of that door not knowing if that person was still there, and run out of that home, run downstairs. That took a lot of guts. I'm sorry, and I've always said she took a lot of heat, and she should have never took any heat. If people would have only known, this is why I say sometimes they need to release bits of information, right? If it protects someone and protects them from being dragged through the mud when they shouldn't be, then it should be brought up. And I think in this case, if they would have, right after they arrested Brian Kohlberger, they should have released at least the messages. Hey, look, she was already saying somebody was in the house. Then nobody would have been saying anything about her. Because it would have been like, damn, she jumped on that shit quick, right? Yeah, she did. So in a way, she's a hero. Because she knew she was intoxicated, but she knew what she saw. And nobody, I think, was prepared for what was going to drop, right? The messages that were going to be going on between DM and the downstairs one, Bethany, right? That nobody saw this coming. I mean, I did. I knew they had to have amount of evidence. I knew that they had to have 911 calls. I knew that most likely they were probably communicating. When they said there was 2 in the home alive, I figured they were cooperating. I mean, at least communicating. And then to find out there's so many people there that next day on that news clip were standing outside, remember? Like after 911 was called, remember they were all kind of gathered outside? I knew they knew more. I knew a lot of those kids had to know what was going on. And I'm sure they had all talked to DM. They were friends. I'm sure she had told them, I saw something. They probably all knew, but they were told to be quiet. And that's why I say sometimes these things could have been put out sooner, would have kept DM from being dragged in the mud. But she knows the truth. She knows in her heart that what she did made her a hero, right? You know, the bushy eyebrows. That led to, I'm sure as soon as they saw that driver's license on that car on the 22nd or 29th of November when they ran that plate, you know, that first cop, because there was 2 different security guys from the campus that ran that car. One, I think, was 22nd, the second was on 29th. But you know, when they saw that driver's license, the first thing they thought was, look at these bushy eyebrows. And then when they had that photo from his phone of in the front of the shower, you know, with the, everybody said he has no expressions. He was smiling, and that's an expression. He was smiling in that photo. Something made him smile in that photo. So, you know, little did he know that he would be caught, right? No perfect crime. For one, you can't drive around in circles around a house like that when you're the only white car in that area at that particular time in the morning and your phone is shut off on your 13th trip, right? But then again, now, supposedly the new bombshell is 23 times he was outside that King Ranch home. 23 times. And that was from July to November the 6th, weekend before. He had been in that area 23 times. We know that he had stalked that home 12 times, and when on the 13th trip is when everything was different. And of course, when you see that reoccurring pattern, okay, he's sitting here for X amount of hours, what is he doing? I always thought he had some kind of camera, trail camera or something in one of those trees, and he was spying on them, changing out batteries, things of this nature. That's what I think he was doing. But then again, I could be totally wrong. He might have been trying to learn their time pattern of when they came in, when they didn't, who was there all the time, who wasn't. I don't know if that was the case, but we know that 12 times prior to November 13th, he was stalking that home, which means more than a few hours, most likely, he was sitting outside that home. Now, the 23 times could have just been him driving by there, you know, and not really stopping for long. But knowing that he stalked them for 12 times before November 13th. And then on the 13th, which was the 13th trip of stalking that home, it was different. He turned his phone off. He'd never done that before. The little things that he did, right? Like I said, if he'd have turned his phone off and left it at home, if he'd have just left his phone at home, it would have been a different story, because then he would have had some grounds to fight. Now he doesn't, because he powered his phone off while he was driving. He powered his phone on while he was driving. So they have that vehicle, and they have those phone pings. Okay, when you're 15 miles from your home and your phone comes back on, they know you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's freezing cold and snow. They know you're not walking in that. So they know you're in your vehicle. Then they see you pull up into your camper. They got the cameras everywhere, people. And I always said the cell phone evidence, the digital footprint. What did I say months ago? The digital footprint is what got him. Because not only of all the times that he pinged onto that Blue Smurfy, I believe, I think that Blue Smurfy also tried to link to his phone that night upstairs. And that's going to be the most critical one. And his lawyer has been trying to get things thrown out, but it's not going to win. Just like she's not going to win on the autism thing. I told y'all this. It's just another wrench she's trying to throw in there. It's not going to work. It'll only play a role down the line in sentencing. That's way down the line. But will I think it's going to matter? No, I don't think it'll matter, because in Idaho, it doesn't matter if you have a mental problem or a condition. It doesn't matter in that state. So do I think it's going to work? No. I think he's done for. I think the example is made. I think they had enough proof to prove that it was him. I think the bombshells are going to drop as soon as court starts. I think that's why his lawyer is doing the things she's doing, trying to get some win, some kind of win, and she's not. She's striking out every time. Do I think that he'll end up firing his lawyer? It's probably. Do I think he's going to pull a Ted Bundy? Probably. Do I think he feels like that might be his only hope, is to, I'm letting out all this autism, and then I'm just going to fire my attorney, and then I'm going to blame everything on autism? Do I think he might try that? Yeah. Do I think it'll try to delay it? Yeah. That's what they're trying to do now. What did she just ask for? Can you please? She needed more time. No, you're not getting any more time. You're done. The court, this has been set. If you needed things, you should have asked for them 2.5 years ago. And to try to say the state did this, nah. The state had their evidence from the first 40 days. No, 35 days. They could have probably done this case in the first 35 days and been successful. With the vehicle, the cell phone data, the eyewitness, and not to say the big bombshell, which was the nice leaf that was left in Maddie's room. That is the biggest bombshell of all. But I think the cell phone data is even bigger than that. In the vehicle, they're going to be able to show, and that's what they're worried about. We need to eliminate these pictures of the car, right? No. Why? Because one of those, I feel that his face is going to be recognized in a camera somewhere within that car. I've always thought that. I know they're not going to put that out yet, and it's gag ordered, so the lawyers won't even talk about it when they're doing a thing on court, on where we can watch the court session going on, hearings or whatever. They're not going to talk about that yet. That's going to come out in court. Do I respect what Kaylee's father, I call him Superman, said when he said about the house being torn down? That doesn't matter. They're 100% confident that this is a shut and closed case. So when you hear that from a victim's father, that's pretty much representing all 4 of these children. He's been the backbone and the voice for all 4 of these children. I think he's helped these parents to heal, to bond, to grieve, to group together, to come together. I think they've all done amazing jobs, but I think Superman has been the forefront for these students. He's been the voice for these students and has helped in every way possible. And to see him say he finally feels a little bit of relief because some of the actual proof is coming out. Like, y'all can't say that whenever that bombshell dropped about the 911 call and then the text messages, that didn't blow y'all's mind. I knew it was coming, but y'all didn't know it was coming, and y'all didn't believe me probably that it was coming. But just, if you think of what we've seen right now is this much, guys, this much. Wait till the whole load drops. If you're already at a point where you're going, wow, he's done, right? Or as some people say, he's toast, or he's cooked, or he's, that's it. He has no chance. He's going to the chair. He's going to get strapped down. He's going to, firing squad's coming, right? All these things, right? Trigger warning. But, if you're finally seeing that with this just little bit that's come out, just wait, right? Till the whole folder hits the desk. I can't imagine. It's probably going to blow my mind what they have. I mean, just like in the Leilani trial, a lot of y'all doubted that. I didn't doubt it. I bet 1,000 bars of soap on it. I knew that woman was not going to get off. When you hear someone say within either the DA, prosecutor, a lawyer, a judge, or a family friend say this is a shut and closed case, or they have a mountain of evidence, that means they got a mountain of evidence. And the good thing about Kaylee's father is he was pushing from the start So he was getting everything, but being told to be quiet about it, and he did. I don't know if I could have been as quiet as he was. Oh, Tinkerbell just ran down the fence. Did y'all see her? She just went right down the fence. Y'all might have saw her. Right behind those pot plants up there. She just went that way. Anyway, she loves it in his garden, boy. Loves that fence. I put the extra top rail up there now so she can run completely around. Because this was just a fence to separate the house from a garden is all I was trying to do. To keep the deer and stuff out of eating all my vegetables here. But she's coming down. Come on. She's coming down. They have a tree in the corner and she comes down the tree by the fence. I don't know if she'll come over here to me. She likes to hide in the, I have a bunch of pot plants that are full of squash that I keep separate because bugs attack squash a lot more, not to change the subject. But, you know, the squash flowers, those beautiful yellow flowers I showed y'all, and she likes to hide in the middle of the squash plants. And I think because they're so bushy and the leaves are so big that she can hide in them. And I have them sitting on a thing, right? And squash is big, see? And I have like a row of pots, and then I have a little shelf behind it that she can sit on to kind of camouflage herself. So she likes to hide behind those. And those flowers, like, guys, are like the size of a coffee plate. They're big. I'll ship y'all some vegetables. Y'all want some? Anyway, you know, I just can't wait for this trial to start. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I still think that. I think it's kind of out of the running of him taking a deal. I think they've tried that and it didn't work. I think that's why she's trying so much more now, is because she's at the end of a rope and she doesn't know what else to do. I think they probably tried to make a deal and they didn't take it. But if they have that much evidence, I wouldn't take the deal either. If it's an open and shut case, I mean, for what we've seen already, they have enough. Can't imagine what else they have. But we know there's, what, 6 different areas of that home. Because if you remember, if you listen to the beginning of this, what did they say? That evidence is collected from all the floors on the house, or the first 2 floors, the third floor and the second floor. A lot of evidence was collected and left behind. That tells us something. Yes, we didn't think about it in the beginning because it's been 2.5 years ago, but you go back and listen to those like I always do. I always take the grab any news clip I can because they're trying to put out everything they can up front, right? Because it's a huge thing. And when they said, that investigator said on that thing, on that news clip, that, you know, evidence was gathered on the 3rd floor, evidence was gathered on the 2nd floor, and evidence was gathered outside the home. What is all this evidence? Supposedly 6 different sets of DNA that probably match Brian Coburn, or a probability of it is greater than 75%. That would be amazing if that's true. I don't know. We'll find out, right? But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. The fire's gone. It's almost gone, not all the way, but I'm tired. I just finished that long other video. I'm gonna do this little one real quick and load it up for y'all. But, you know, justice for, of course, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. 4 angels that life was cut way too short. They never got to experience life to the fullest. They didn't get to, you know, marry and have children and have families and careers, and that was all taken short by some man that just was evil, right? That thought of doing something on, you know. And another thing is, that day is World Peace Day, I believe it is. And it's also the day of the Paris attacks in 2015. So, not saying it's really connected to true crime in a lot of ways, but that particular date of November 13th is World Peace Day. And it's supposed to be about world peace, right? And yet, he chose that day, you know, the 13th day of November. Why, I don't know. Was it because Kaylee was there for that weekend? I don't know. Was it something that he had tried before to do and just couldn't get up the nerve? Had he had any of those 12 attempts? Was that his plan and it just didn't go through, and on the 13th time he just did? I don't know. But I know something was different on that 13th trip because he turned his phone off. So something made him want to do it that particular night. But, you know, to think about the scariness and the creeps and the hair standing up on the back of your neck, thinking with the weekend before, the 6th, right? That was another time that he was outside that home, stalking that home on the 6th of November. Was that a day he almost did it? Were they almost taken that day? Were their lives almost taken that day? And if so, why weren't they? Was it December? Was it October 13th? Was it Halloween, which would have been a backwards 13? Was there other days that he had left to go do this and then couldn't do it? Or something wasn't right, or something didn't that he saw was different. Something for this particular day and night or early morning was different. And it all goes back to turning off the phone. He had never turned it off in the other prior trips before. So something on November 13th made him do it on November 13th. As much as we can pray and wish that it never would have happened, because of course we wish it never would have happened. Maybe he should have got help. Maybe he should have. There's no telling. I've never felt like this was his first time, and I could be wrong, but I think something will come out. I think there's a reason also, like I said, that clip from the August pullover of the body cam footage of the lady officer pulling him over for running the red light when he talks about crosswalks. That particular day has a lot of meaning in this case, and I don't know why yet. But we know that they've entered that into this case. So there's a reason. That date, August 21st or whatever date it was, has a meaning, or they wouldn't have added it into this case. Was that a day that something's going to come out? Was that a day that he may have planted a camera? Was that a day that he may have hidden a microphone? Was that the day of he might have done something? Maybe he was in that home that day, snooping around. Maybe they were all gone. We don't know if any of this is going to come out yet. We don't know if that was actually his first time in that house. We don't know that yet. But, to be so right after the DoorDash, did he come in right after he parked? I've always felt like he did. I've always felt like he saw the DoorDash, he made another loop, he came back, he parked when the DoorDash was gone, he went in, he did whatever he did to try to either, one, when he saw the DoorDash driver there and realized it was DoorDash, maybe he thought, okay, if I do it now, maybe they'll think it was DoorDash. Or was he trying to throw them for a loop in a certain way? I don't know. We don't know. He picked a night where there was a formal going on at the fraternities also. Think about all these little things that were going on, right? Because we know that Ethan had taken his twin sister to the formal, and then Xana had met up with him later at the fraternity party. But there was a thing going on for the fraternity that night, a formal, which we know on the formal for Riley Strand, they went to Nashville. Another heartbreaking story. But something was going on. The fraternity was having a thing. Somehow, some way, all this is going to end up being linked. I don't know how yet. I've been racking my brain trying to figure it out, but eventually maybe we will. Eventually maybe it'll all come out. I'm curious to see what more evidence they have on him besides the phone, the car, the Blue Smurfy, which I think is going to be important. The cameras around that area. I'm more concerned and focused on the camera on the corner. I think it was the AMW restaurant or something like, some kind of little area. It was a coffee house or something on a corner. And that camera is pretty much right on the road. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the one that might have caught his face in that car. And was there plastic over his seats? Was there, because I'm sure they know a lot of this information. They're just not putting it out yet. So, hopefully we'll get all that. But anyway, everyone's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. These are just my thoughts, guys, allegedly. Y'all's comments, y'all's alone, not the fact channel. We do our research together because we do have big hearts around here. And trigger warnings always. Justice for, of course, Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Ethan. May them rest in peace. May their families get justice and closure after all this time of waiting. Yes, it's much needed now. Do I feel that he's going to get that chair? Yeah, I do. I'm pretty confident to say that most likely, yes. They brought that law back after all this happened. The those attorneys of his have drugged this out so long that they've allowed all these things to happen, when they should have tried to try this in the beginning right away. But I think the mountain of evidence that the defense was smacked in the face with is what slowed them down. Oh my God, how are we going to get rid of all this evidence, Brian? Dang, what did you do, right? Like, I'm sure a lot going to come out. But anyway, guys, y'all have a wonderful night. Keep everyone in our prayers. We love y'all, guys. We'll talk soon. Y'all be safe. All right, guys? Bye.